So after making my case for SAED video, I noticed that a lot of people were still quite angry that the changes to the charge plate don't allow SAED from neutral. What I want to show you today is not really going to solve the lack of SAED from neutral thing, but it will attempt to give you an alternative. One that I hope is convincing enough to motivate you to pursue this playstyle if you still want it. What you're watching here is an Arkveld hunt where I rely almost exclusively on SAED. I do activate Savage Axe for the nice file economy buff, but I mostly try to hit the monster with SAED. Before I tell you what I learned, I want to quickly clarify that I'm no speedrunner, and by no means I think of myself as an authority in this game. I'm just some guy that really likes to try trial and error in the games that he likes. Let's go over my game plan. Starting the fight, I would try to get my shield charged and the Savage Axe buff. Then, if I find a safe window, I would try to charge my sword. If you only want to use SAED, you'll notice that you're actually attacking with your sword a lot. Especially now that we can overload files, because you can keep being aggressive without that awkward interaction that happens when your sword is overheated, but you already have all your files loaded. I was surprised to find that charging the sword outputs some nice file damage. In Iceborne, impact files would do around 30 to 40% of the damage from each swing. But here, I'm seeing numbers from 50 to sometimes 70% of the damage that the sword does. I do hope that this is a buff, because this can really encourage the use of this part of the weapon more, since its use is quite situational. I would try to rely on perfect blocks to set up SAEDs or to keep charging the file energy. From what I've seen on the second beta, perfect blocking is now also a guard point. You can see the file damage going off from each perfect block that you do, which is great because sometimes you do kinda rely on those guard points to get a free stun on the monster. It also greatly reduces the chip damage that you get from blocking, so I found myself almost exclusively using perfect blocks. After every block, I would either SAED or do a charged slash. Arkveld is actually a great matchup for SAED style, because many of his animations have long commitment, so you can punish him quite frequently with your own high commitment attacks. If I didn't have a long enough window, I would simply do a charge slash. You want to keep the energy rolling on your files, so if the opportunity to SAED is not there, you better make sure to keep those files loaded. From this, one of two things would happen. One, I could simply punish Arkveld with SAED, or two, I would keep loading my files, sometimes even overloading them, and then wait for a proper window to attack. Make sure to keep the buff on shield and Savage Axe as much as you can, and bada bing bada boom, there's your SAED style. Now, I will say that without skills, playing this style can sometimes feel absolutely miserable, especially if you know how good it can be when you have everything to soften those rough edges. I can't stress enough how much I felt the lack of focus on my kit. It takes you twice the amount of charge slashes to get to right files, and it takes you twice the amount of time to do the animation for the attack. You can sometimes see me just whiff the timing on the charge slash because I am so used to the timing with focus. Trying to charge the sword can sometimes feel like a liability, because it just takes forever. That said, I am really liking how satisfying it is to perfect block. Not only is it really strong, but you can start performing actions after a block really fast with this mechanic. I've said this before, but we might start seeing less need to rely on the skill guard in order to have a good block to SAED follow-up. I could see this as a bit problematic because I think perfect block will probably replace guard points for most purposes. And the all guard points will maybe become like a safety net that you have in very specific situations. If you're going to attempt this playstyle, I think it would be a good idea to start working on those perfect blocks. There's also something quite cool about the new move to charge your shield. When you have just loaded your files, if you hold circle on a PS controller, the hunter will do this animation where they place the shield in front of them, and it charges the shield. At first, I thought this was only a way to get a guard point while charging the shield, but that seemed to be a bit redundant because we already have Morph Slash for that. However, you can actually buffer quite a variety of different moves after this animation. It allowed me to charge the shield and then perfect block right after, or sometimes charge the shield and follow up with a charge slash. It just makes everything flow a lot more if you know how to use it. Let's not forget how crazy it is that you can, up to the very last second, aim your SAEDs with focus mode. It really feels like cheating. You can change the direction of this attack while the hunter is swinging the axe around. I really want to see what will happen when we can start tinkering with the elemental builds, because whiffing the SAEDs now seems almost impossible with this mechanic. So yeah, I know that this is not going to be the fastest hunt that you'll see in the community, but I just wanted to make this video to show that it is possible to play SAED spam, and I wanted to showcase this in a fight that seemed reasonably challenging to further prove my point. As I said before, I'm not the greatest Monster Hunter player, but if I could kill Arkveld like this, so can you. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll leave you guys with the rest of the fight since I pretty much said all I wanted to say. Hopefully you learned some cool things from this video, and if not, I'll see you on the next one. As always, my name is Sun, and until next time.
ここなら簡易キャンプが建てられそうだ。
これは情報の塊ですね。